Well, here we go then. It is an amazing grid. Some beautiful cars. If you think what these are worth, don't worry, think about it now. Just concentrate on the racing. We're waiting for the flag to come down. We're nearly there. The RAC TT Celebration is underway. Brilliant start from that pole position. Oh no, we've got a car off already, number 25. That's the Carl Tilley car that will be shared by Jake Hill. Another car off on the side as well. And will, in number 24 it is the Jack Tetley, Alex Buncombe car that's gone off. Well, that's a great shame because we've had some pretty clean starts so far, Alice, but it didn't quite work. But look at the lead that's developed already.
It's great, and actually the Shed and Assam Cobra got a great launch. You could just see it going up the inside there. So they started down in 6th place, and it looks like they could already be into 4th place. Yeah, they go through the first part of St Mary's.
Wow, remarkable, but what a great start by Ollie Bryan. He's opened up a big advantage so far, but will he be able to ease it away even further? As you say, that battle for 2nd place, Andrew Bentley holding on to 2nd place with the E-Type at this stage. Is everybody trying to find some position?
Yes, one driver who lost out was Tom Christensen. He got bogged down at the start, lost the advantage of that front row starting position. Now clawing his way back up. He's just got up into 4th place, so up to speed. Expect to see Tom Christensen catch the tail of this top 3.
Oh, just remember, it's Mike Whitaker in it at the moment. Yes, it's Mike in it at the moment. Tom will be racing it later, as you say, but that TVR, which did win this race last year, as you say, the start didn't go perfectly well, but he is up into a clear 4th now, and he's trying to catch back up again. Starting here is not always very easy around Goodwood. Just seeing Richard Kent go through in the number 88 E-Type Jaguar, but it is Ollie Bryant who is currently leading this race by 1.5 seconds at the end of the first lap. And
there's the 94, the Vernon Rowe AC Cobra that was with those classic snake eyes on the front that was just slithering on the grass as it was coming down into Woodcote Corner. And then we're going to go 3 abreast, are we? Maybe 4 abreast if we're lucky, down into Fordwater, and Vernon Rowe goes round the outside. However, we've got a battle on our hands for 2nd place. We've got the Jag E-Type under all sorts of pressure from the Cobra.
Yeah, Andrew Smith in the Cobra, who will be sharing with Dario Franchitti. That is what the battle's about there.
That's a very strong driver lineup. Andrew Smith did an excellent job winning earlier in the weekend in a GT category in a Porsche 904. But look at the way the Cobra, this is what is famous for, those power oversteer slides, but in the process drops back fractionally, coming out of the 2nd, but 11th.
So this is a real battle as we come out of Lamont. We're on board number 22, so we're with Chris Buncombe. This is the Jensen Button car. He'll be taking it on later on, and this is the Jaguar E-Type. Now, it started a bit further down the list. He only recently got this. They're down in 16th position. Well, they were as they crossed the line last time around. I think they're still in that order, but there's some good battling going on in that little section, and trying to make some progress up against the Cobra of Saif Assam. I think they've made a bit of ground, actually. In the meantime, as you can see, Mike Whitaker with the TVR is doing well.
Yes, didn't take very long from to latch himself onto this battle for 2nd place. And currently, of these 2 cars, the 3rd one is the quickest. But catching is one thing, overtaking is another. And you saw the Cobra struggling to find a way past Bentley in that 2nd place E-Type Jaguar.
Absolutely. So we're on board with Mike Whitaker here as he is trying to see if he can make, but there is that change of 2nd place. So that's a very good effort indeed by Andrew Smith, who's gotten a Cobra up into 2nd place. So you've got a Cobra 1-2 at the moment.
Yeah, and the TVR is on its way, and just actually on the Shed and Assam car, that must have had an off at some point in the lap, so they've dropped all the way down. That's the car that got the electric start, dropped all the way down to 13th place now, and the Buncombe Button car did find its way through.
But Mike Whitaker's doing a great job. You're on board with him. He had fastest last lap around by nearly a second, really, over the front runners. So this TVR has got tremendous pace once again. And these 2, both the Cobra initially and the Jaguar E-Type, number 18, that's the Jaguar E-Type, that is coming under a lot of pressure. Yeah,
I would expect in straight line performance the TVR to have the advantage over the Jaguar, but it's not just about speed on the straight, it's speed onto the straight. Look at Whitaker lining up the Jaguars. They come down into Magic, going to slip the nose of the TVR up the inside as we go back on board with Oliver Bryan, leading the race now by 3.7 seconds. Yes, he's done it. He's up to 3rd place. Whittaker slid through on the entry into Madrid and taken third place.
He's taken that vicious little car with that huge power-to-rate ratio, the Ford 4.7 V8 underneath that lovely blue 46. And now he's been chasing down the next car, and his prey will be the AC Cobra of Smith.
Yeah, Mike Whittaker. Let's have another little look at this, Alice, and see how the overtake got done.
As John mentioned, that's just pure power compared to the Jaguar, hitting those down changes and even a little bit of grass from the AC Cobra in front of Smith, making use of all parts of this Goodwood circuit.
Well, it's all there to be used. This is the forward view looking into Madrid, and then that was a very clean and relatively straightforward overtake. Just the speed off the chicane from the TVR greater than the Jaguar. Now the Cobra's under real threat as we come down into Woodcote at the end of Lavin Straight.
Yeah, so now you're into a battle for second position. By the way, I've just heard that the Alex Brundle, Gary Pearson cars had to come into the pits, so it does look as though Alex won't be out later. Gary Pearson did start the race in the E-Type, but they must have a technical problem, I think. But this battle for second place, now we saw the TVR very rapid here. It down this straight, down the start-finish straight, it is very rapid, but Mike on the outside, it's always harder to overtake.
Yeah, but Andrew Smith is a wily competitor. He knows where to place his car in a defensive situation, so he stayed to the inside on the entry into Madrid to force Whittaker to go the long way around, which he wasn't able to do. So now it's all status quo coming through four-door, flat out in these cars, probably 140 miles an hour, then get onto the brakes into the first part of St. Mary's, and then you make the cut back to go through the exit. So hold station, wait to see what you can do when you get onto Lavin Straight.
I think you've got to be very brave, John, to go around the outside at Madrid Corner in any car up against any driver.
Little puff of smoke.
Yeah.
That, I think, was body rub, the tyre rubbing against the bodywork, so nothing to be concerned about. So let's watch it. The TVR, you can see, can hold that slightly tighter line all the way through and then gain on the exit. And, of course, we saw just how quick the TVR is coming down pit straight and about to try and punch in the Cobra.
Is he going to be able to do it? You're on board in the battle for second place. Around the outside, a straight line speed of that TVR is so impressive, going past the Cobra, and he has taken second place. So now, of course, chasing after leader, 4-second gap to the race leader, Ollie Bryant. And Ollie actually, I don't know whether he's been told, but he just set the fastest first sector of anybody so far in this race. But let's just see what the gap is and whether over the next couple of laps the gap will reduce at all. So as he goes over the line this time, it's 4.7 seconds, but the pace is actually very, very similar to what Ollie Bryant is doing up front at this stage. So we shall see.
I think now that Whittaker's got clear air, all he has to focus on is trying to catch him. We just start saying it. Safety car has been deployed. So there is...
Driver's okay.
Is that one of the Tajeros?
Yeah, it's the Tajero 40E Coupe. Yeah, it is, and it's Afshin Fatemi who's had the crash. It would have been shared by Jean-Eric Verne, and oh, that is a great shame because we've only got the two Tajeros in this race. A rare machine. Let's have a look, guys, at what happened. See what. Oh,
again coming through Ford water, and just round wide, and the car got onto the grass, and then just nosedived into the tyre wall, the rubber strap that failed, so the car rotated. All the energy, fortunately, was dissipated, and you can see drivers out of the car. He will certainly feel the impact of that later in the day and tomorrow, but safety car had to be deployed to remove the Trujillo to safety before we can continue racing.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of tyre wall damage there as well. I wonder if maybe will they stick out the red flag. We have seen that across the course of the weekend, but as you said, Ben, a very rare car, and actually that's an ex-Jackie Stewart Le Mans car from 1962.
Well, great history, but we're sad to see it go like that. Okay, guys, let's have another look at the start. I mean, it was a brilliant getaway by Ollie Bryant, wasn't it, Alice?
Yeah, and just looking in the middle there, the 24 and the 25 just coming together, and then that's on around, and it was a great avoidance from everybody else. So that's the Carl Tilley and Jake Hill car, which another one of our ex-Jackie Stewart cars that we've got on the grid, that shot over to left of screen, and then the 24, the Buncombe and Tetley car, was shot over to the right of screen. But this is on board with our, and there's the number 6. That was on board with our current race leader, and there was the Shedden Assam car that snuck on through, and of course had an incident somewhere along the line to drop down the order. So starting from middle of the pack, and this was the Buncombe car. There was a lot of wheel and door banging, wasn't there?
Oh. A lot of hip and shoulder, but if you're in the middle of the or tail of the pack, you're in the part of the grid going into Madrid, where people are seeking to come up and around the outside of you, or come up, sneak up the inside of you, and sneak wherever you can.
Yeah, but there was certainly a bit more contact at the start of this race than we've seen in a few of them. But it's always understandable at the start of a race that can happen easily. Oh, running wide, number 5. That's the James Thorpe Bizzarini that ran wide onto the grass.
The Thorpe, and I think that was the Piro, wasn't it? Yeah, the car. But that set off Buncombe through. So then we were riding on board here. There's another great start of the Whittaker's TVR that just didn't get the launch, John.
No, I don't know whether he may have had too much wheel spin. There was blue smoke from the rear, but he was assumed by those around him and fell back from that front row starting position, lost 4 positions, but immediately straight on the pace and just passing cars with relative ease.
I think he actually dealt with that very sensibly, because it wasn't a great start, and he just backed off and let the number 17 go through. That's Fred Wakeman, who is very rapid, but he then just started to pick up the pace, as you say, and started overtaking.
Yeah, tried to have a little look down the inside, didn't he there, John, of another one of our AC Cobras.
Yeah, I mean, the TVR's, clearly is the quickest car on the circuit. Certain parts of the circuit especially, and Whittaker doing a good job just to place himself in the situation, not entering into Lavin, but waiting till the Cobra gets into, and then use a slightly different line and tighter exit coming through part 1, and there's having to be patient, not trying to overdrive. Now he's on the throttle and just driving the TVR off the exit of Lavin, and just no problem whatsoever. Just the speed the car has got, the acceleration is, pretty impressive.
It is. Yeah.
It is. Actually, I like the history of the TVR, because actually it was American racing driver and entrepreneur Jack Griffith that saw the potential of dropping a big American V8 into a tiny chassis, a little bit like what Carroll Shelby did with the AC.
I think there may have been a case of, if it works for Carroll Shelby, it might work for a TVR.
Indeed, and it did work, and it does work now.
It's working now, yeah.
I think it was updated before the race last year. They have to stick to historic regulations. You're not allowed to do things that it didn't race in at the time. The restrictions and regulations here at Goodwood are very, very strong, and they tell the teams what you can and what you can't do. For example, all on sustainable fuel as well. No matter how classic the cars racing here at Goodwood, they're on sustainable fuel, and that can sometimes change what you need to do a little bit on the balance of the engine, but they do all work as long as you just make those tiny adjustments. So they're behind the safety car now, John, and just taking it steady. So it gives us a chance to just catch up with some of those interesting machines.
Well, there is one, the Chevrolet Stingray with the split rear window. That's a valuable car, because they were the initial production run of the Chevrolet Stingray, and then in later evolutions of the car they went to a full rear screen. But the split screen one is the real one.
We are seeing a red flag now, and Alice, as you mentioned, you thought that might be a situation, because if the barrier needs repairing, that does take a little bit of time.
It does, and you can see the marshal left the screen there, just directing the cars to keep over to the right-hand side, but that was a huge impact.
One lap before the pit lane opens, but as you guys said, not necessarily everyone's going to come in at the same lap, because it could get very, very busy in there. The pit lane is a tight place here at Goodwood, so you've got to decide sometimes when is best to go in.
Safety car light out, Ben, so safety car will peel into the pit lane entry just at the exit of the chicane, and then the race control will be in the hands of Ollie Bryant in the lead Cobra, and he'll have a laser attached to the rear of that AC Cobra from the Whittaker TVR. Whittaker wants to get as close as he possibly can. Well, in fact, the Jaguar goes behind the chicane rather than entering the pit. But now Oliver Bryant is in control.
Here we go then. We are getting all set for the restart, and it's another brilliant start by Ollie Bryant, the man who took it from pole position. And it's also a great start from Andrew Bentley, who's coming through on the inside there, and I think he's going to grab sorry, no, it's not Andrew Bentley. It is the number 79, Andrew Smith. Andrew Smith, who's nipped through and taken second. Oh, and off has gone the Nicholas Ditting E-type. Hopefully they can get back on. And wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more going off.
Well, it was a very tricky restart. Everybody being cautious, particularly Whittaker in the TVR. He didn't do what those around him did, and he consequently lost 2 positions. But listen, don't worry about it. We're just on the restart, the first lap of this restart. It's about feeling what the racetrack is going to give you and what your car can benefit from extremely tricky conditions. Track is still not fully wet, as I would call it. It's in that transitional phase between slick going to wet. You want a lot more water on the racetrack.
The TVR's lost quite a lot of places there, Alice.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be difficult in the rain, and it has. It's dropped back quite a little bit. It's now lost a place to the Bentley Huff in the Jag E-Type semi-lightweight, as you can just see how tricky the conditions are. And this rain is scheduled to get even heavier, John.
But look, I mean, everybody is literally tippy-toeing them. The speed they're going into Lavender is about a half what they do normally in dry conditions. And it's again, how much throttle application? I would say get it over the Trajero and the Corvette. But it's just about use the least amount of throttle, just get your car rolling momentum.
Oh, it's looking stuck. Matthew Holmes in that. He would be handing over to Andrew Jordan later. The pit window is opened, although if we go to safety car, the pit will be closed. So let's see if anybody comes in. The marshal's doing a great job to try and get it out of the gravel.
I think they've succeeded doing a great job.
Yeah.
So any takers for the pit lane, because they look at the E-Type coming down from the outside of the skies up across. So the Huff Bentley Jaguar has taken over second place. Well, I thought it had, but Andrew Smith is not conceding it. He's going to hang out up the inside, but will the Jaguar have the pace on the exit? Yes, it does. The Cobra just couldn't deliver the Jaguar midway through the exit of Madrid Corner.
So we do have a few takers to come in the pits. The Prio Wakeman Jaguars come in. The Kent Ingram Jags. Tom Ingram will be hopping in to that car. So there's Prio that's going to be jumping in. The Lynn Johnson, so we're going to say Jimmy Johnson take over in the AC Cobra, and the Shedden Assam Cobra has come in too.
But this battle for second place is really looking very strong between the two Andrews. So it's Andrew Smith in the Cobra, back ahead of the E-Type once again. These two are having such a good battle. Andrew Bentley, who will be turning his E-Type over to Rob Huff, as we heard from Rob earlier on. There's nothing to choose between them at this stage.
In fact, I think they're beginning to close down the gap to the race leader, because coming into 11th, the gap between first and second looks like slightly less than it was just one lap ago. And there, the Lister Jaguar, Andy Prio behind the wheel, the cut 7, bit returns to the racetrack, as does the Cobra following. So good pit stops by these teams. They've probably been able to get in and out in the space of less than the space of one lap.
Yeah, seeing Tom Ingram come back out as well, that's always going to be fun, because he had that win here last year. Right, let's keep an eye. Are they going to be coming in, do you think, Alice, or will they stay out? I
expect we're going to see Rob Huff really want to hop into that car. We've seen some great drives from him in the rain in past times here. So we'll have a little look. Obviously, the Turner-Bryant car, they're probably the most experienced driver pairing out there. Let's see if Bryant decides to come into the pit. So let's have a look. Is he coming in? No, so he carries on. We'll check out in the background to see the other two, but as we expected, in comes the Jag.
Yeah, the Jag's coming in. I'd expect Ollie Brown to stay out probably as long as possible, because he's almost the match in terms of pace of Darren Turner, and he is the incumbent. He's accustomed to these conditions, so all those that are jumping into the pit lane now are going to be strangers to these conditions, so this is where Ollie Brown can really capitalise, in my view. But watch Rob Hutton, he gets behind the wheel of this Jaguar. He is sensational.
He is.
He's not just quick, he is entertaining at the same time.
Yeah, so keep an eye on this one. Rob Huff has got a real chance, because they had a strong position before deciding to come into the pits. Remember, we've still got plenty of time before you have to make the pit stop. So as you say, I think Ollie Bryant might stay out there a bit longer, because then they get a nice empty pit lane as well when they come in, and shouldn't get a delay. Remember, you have to be in the pits for 50 seconds. If you are naughty and you go out too quickly, you get a penalty. So they need to stick to that.
So here's our race leader coming into 11th, and a slightly erratic movement on the windscreen wipers, but as long as it keeps the screen clear. And Ollie Bryant's doing pretty much what I suggested, is not use maximum RPM, just use the torque of the motor to drive you through the corner to the exit, and then when you're on the straight you can go higher and higher. But look, he's having to struggle even in a straight line to keep the car pointing straight.
Yeah, it's so tough, isn't it? So a great onboard shot we're getting, and here it's a tricky corner in the dry, let alone the wet. You're braking and turning at the same time, and here going to have a handful of opposite lock at some point, and it's probably likely going to be around about here when he gets back on the power. There we go, and then into the chicane. And drivers get the signal from the marshals. If we look to the right-hand side, that says there, the sign that says pit lane open, and that will close in about 15 minutes' time.
Yeah, he's doing a good job so far, holding on to the lead right now and still putting together some decent laps. 1:53, and that seems to be the sort of pace. We're seeing similar pace right now from Andrew Smith as well.
Oh, Ollie Bryan, well and truly sliding sideways coming through Madrick, and just behind Andrew Smith in a similar Cobra. As you say, Ben, more or less matching. In fact, I would say maybe marginally, depending which part of the racetrack we're on, but catching our race leader down through the very fast, tricky four-quarter section of the circuit.
So I was just about to say the Buncombe Button car is into the pits as well. So Jenson Button will be hopping in, and the Tetley Buncombe as well is in, so plenty of people now swapping in. I did see that Dario Franchitti was wandering up and down with his helmet on, so he'll be probably looking to take over from the 79 at any moment now.
Yeah, so you are getting all the star drivers beginning to come out. Not all of them just yet. This was the slide you were referring to.
I mean, I said this yesterday about Chris Ward and the E-Type Jaguar. Well, there, Ollie Bryan, if you could take a picture of that, how many kids would love to have that image of an AC Cobra on their wall in their bedroom?
But great control. But as you say, these two Cobras are doing very, very similar pace all the way around. But it is impressive what they're both doing. But I have to say, Andrew Smith is right there. And in fact, that first sector again, slightly quicker.
Yes, I mean, and the Tiger's slipped off the track. And we know, we heard what Matt Neal was saying, that the Tiger has got little grip in the dry. In the wet, it's an extremely difficult car. It's a very short wheelbase car with a huge amount of power, the same as an AC Cobra, or for that matter, the TVR Griffith.
Yeah, well, that is the car that is shared by Michael Squire and Nigel Greensall. And Michael hasn't been in to pass over to Nigel just yet. So, meanwhile, we've got more cars coming out of the pits. And actually, the gap there went up a bit. I don't know quite what happened.
No, it's certainly somewhere around the lap, Andrew Smith lost traction. Rob Huff, now, watch a maestro at work. This will be a masterclass in driving an E-Type Jaguar in wet circuit conditions. Don't let me down, Rob.
Alice, Rob is the first of those that has made the pit stop, isn't he? So he's leading that group that have made pit stops. So the question is, when the others then make the pit stops, is this car going to be the one in front?
Well, he's going to give it his best shot, that's for sure, is Rob Huff, and we just saw a glimpse of the 36. Jacques Villeneuve is behind the wheel of that now, so he's trying to learn this track in these conditions and learn the car as well, John.
Key will be to watch what Rob Huff's first flying lap time is. Now he's behind the wheel of the E-Type against the pace of the two lead AC Cobras.
Well, he's just done a good lap, but in fact, Tom Ingram behind him, who's a long way behind him, has also just done a very good lap, 50.037.
So he's actually gone 2 seconds quicker, 2.7 seconds quicker than Rob Huff.
Yeah, so both Huff and Ingram are looking as though they're putting together some pretty rapid pace right now. Ollie Bryant did a 1:53.9. He's still holding the lead in the #1 Cobra, as you can see. But let's just watch, because the gap is opening up, definitely. It's strange, because Andrew Smith was really doing a great job, but he's just dropped back a little bit more. I hope there's no technical problem with the car as well, but he has definitely dropped back further.
I mean, the lap time of Tom Ingram and Andy Priaulx, both doing 1 minute 50.1s or 50.3s. I mean, that pace is just unbelievable. Back to the Jaguar of Rob Huff, waiting to see when he will start to make inroads. Currently, that car waiting for to complete his lap to find out the gap between what is currently in 8th place Jaguar E-Type against a race-leading AC Cobra.
Absolutely, and what we're watching here in these conditions, when it's raining like this is, and it's got a strong breeze as well, you're watching some of the great drivers in the world showing that they can hold it together, but it is never easy, and around this circuit, easy to make a mistake and fall off, but they're doing a great job so far. We've still got just over half an hour to go in this race, and of course, we haven't yet had our race leader or second place or third place come into the pits for their swap of drivers, but they're doing a good job up front at the moment. Ollie Bryant really putting together some very good laps so far, just done a 1:52.8, so that's in the mix, isn't it?
Yes. So the quickest laps we've seen have been a 1:50.4. That was the last lap for Tom Ingram. And looking to see if anybody's gotten any faster than that. No, I think Ingram still is the quickest car on the circuit.
The rain is coming down even heavier now. You can see from the amount of spray that's fallen in the past couple of laps. So that's going to make it even trickier for the drivers. But certainly, like you said there, Ben and John, the lap times from Tom Ingram are pretty impressive. Drop up that time round has entered into the 1:51, so he is getting a bit quicker.
But the key thing is he's under 50 seconds behind, and you have to be in the pits for 50 seconds.
Absolutely. So, and is this our hero? Is this Jensen getting a little bit sideways as he comes into St. Mary's? Normally you never see Jensen getting sideways except if he's in a bar.
So that's that's the Ingram car that seems to be one of the fastest out there, if not the fastest out there at the moment. So Tom, who's used to driving a front-wheel touring car, he's behind a rear-wheel drive Jag, and looks like he's still got it back from his Ginetta Junior days.
He's doing a fantastic job with it, as you say. Very, very impressive. That is a great classic E-Type, of course, as well. Raced in the early 1960s by Dick Prothero with various wins, but it's always been competitive here at Goodwood as well.
Keep an eye on Andy Prio, who's running directly behind Tom Ingram. So Prio is running, well, about half a second, maybe slightly more slower than Ingram is doing in the E-Type Jaguar, but those two are generally, I think, the quickest two cars on the circuit at the minute. I mean, the last lap for Andrew Smith was 1:57. The last lap for Ollie Bryant leading this race was a 1:54. They're losing shed loads of time compared to those two competitors.
They're probably getting into a bit more traffic now as well, aren't they? So, and that can really slow you down in certain places. So there's our race leader. There is Ollie Bryant. He will be handing over to Darren Turner soon, but he doesn't have to do it just yet. He's still got another just under 10 minutes if he needs to or wants to. They have to go to make the change before we come up with 20 minutes to go.
Yes, so he's got a little bit of time left. Tom Ingram's now just approaching the back of some traffic, so he's got that to deal with. Same with our leader, who's coming up to the number 30, the Aitard and Cook car, so he'll have to try and navigate his way past that. So that's going to again play a part. We've seen it throughout plenty of the races here over the course of the weekend, and yeah, there's some traffic, but actually that's going to be a battle on track. That's the Thorpe Piro car, so Tom will try and navigate that and slide his way into 6th place.
The thing that Ingram's got to be careful of is the car he's trying to overtake. Has he got any awareness at all that he's alongside, going the long way around the outside into 11th corner? So he's successfully negotiated that particular car.
Absolutely, and interestingly, Ingram doing that 1:49.7 on that last lap, so he's the first one into the 40s in this wet condition, and yet, as you were saying, Brian did a 1:53, Smith a 1:57, Smith in. So Andrew Smith handing over to Dario Franchitti, and although he had good pace in the wet initially, it seemed to go off a little bit for some reason in the last few laps.
Yeah, he lost suddenly about 3-4 seconds on one lap. We didn't see the reason for it. It may have been traffic, it could have been maybe just an error of driving. But into the car goes Dario Franchitti. And it'll be interesting to see how Dario is going to go out stone cold, no idea what grip levels are going to be like, and he's a super competitive driver in a very competitive machine.
Yeah, only one mechanic can help with strapping the driver in. There'll be another mechanic somewhere on the pit wall that will be timing to make sure that they don't go out any quicker than 50 seconds, and it's really hard for a driver, well, in any category, whether you're doing single-seaters or GTs, to try and strap yourself in, which is why you often see, and there's Tom Christensen now getting into our TVR, which is a handful in the dry, and it's going to be a handful in the wet, and Whitaker passing on a little bit of knowledge, because of course, like you said, those drivers that are jumping in are cold. They've got no feel of these track conditions.
No, and that was, you put your top driver, your professional drivers in second, it doesn't matter. They are going to be going out stone cold. They haven't driven these cars since qualifying yesterday, and those were different conditions. Those that are contending with now as our race leader comes around. He's going to complete his 18th lap, and well, I wonder, are they going to think about, do we come in sooner or hang it out to the last possible minute? But he's losing time here behind the Chevy Corvette, and I think maybe Ollie Bryant, is he? No, he's not. He's staying I thought he might have used that as an excuse, and he puts his hand out to say thank you very much. that was a signal from the pit lane.
Yes.
Acknowledging.
Yeah, but that may be that he's going to come in at the next lap. I would think they might, because they don't want to risk going too close to the limit. And also, looking at what Huff's doing right now, I think that Rob Huff will be ahead of Ollie Bryan when they come back out, because the pace that Huff is still doing, he's just done a 150.7, so he has put together another great lap. Andy Prio's done another good lap too, but he's further down the order. He's currently down in 5th place. So here you are, riding on board with our current race leader, Ollie Bryan, who will be, I think, handing over pretty shortly to Darren Turner, but that car may not be leading after the pit stop.
Ben, I think this car should have come in when the Corvette was just directly ahead of him, because he lost a bunch of time in that last sector of the racetrack. Now he's going to be in his right away, manages to keep the car corrected. I think that was an error, maybe, in terms of strategy. We saw the pit board go out, we saw his hand come out to acknowledge that, so I would say certainly he'll be in at the end of this lap.
Now, Tom Ingram is really rapidly catching this car on screen, the number 18 of Rob Huff, and he was 1.3 seconds quicker than Rob Huff that lap. The gap was 8 seconds between the two of them. It's now down to 6.7 seconds. Prio, he's moving rapidly as well, apart from he got a bit of traffic in that middle to last sector, so he's dropped back off Tom Ingram. But we are going to, I think, have a great battle, not just for the podium places, but for the win as well.
So the Corvette is still on the tail of our race leader. Now, that was a car that was a lap down at the point when Ollie Bryan overtook it. So Bryan is really, I think, struggling. Hand is out now, indicating him coming in. So that was an indication to the car following to expect the Cobra to peel off to the right and enter the pit lane.
So this is really interesting. Race leader Ollie Bryan coming into the pits to hand over to Darren Turner. I think he's going to certainly lose the lead. It's a question more of how many places will they lose. Will they lose 1 or 2? Because behind, as you say, Ingram is flying along as well. So it could be tricky to come out even second. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, these are the calls that the people in the pit lane make, but sometimes factors beyond the control of the pit lane, or maybe even the driver behind the wheel. So this is the car that is this now going to be our lead car.
It is.
Rob Huff behind the wheel. So Jaguar is actually leading for the first time this afternoon in the TT, and directly behind there's a slithering E-Type, and that is Tom Ingram.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be 3rd place for the Cobra. And this, Alice, is not a huge surprise, because we've been hearing again and again when you're in an E-Type in the wet, it can sometimes be a more balanced car to play with than with the Cobra.
Compliant.
Compliant.
And they did talk about making some suspension changes to take into account the potential wet weather, and those that have done that to their car will now be feeling the benefits.
So he's only just coming out the pits now, is Darren Turner, so he's actually going to be quite a way behind. He's down in 4th place now. Interested to see where the Franchitti Smith car is. I think it's just
overtaken this
just
car.
sailed on past. And one other thing to point out is a black and white flag out for car number 9, and that's Tony Kanaan behind the wheel of that.
And Gordon Shedden's going past as well. Gordon Shedden's just nipped past on the outside. And it's always tough when you go out first, isn't it? The second drive for Darren Turner is great experience, but you're going out in a car, you don't know how it's going to feel until you've done a lap.
No, I mean, the point of staying out late or long was to let the driver who's behind the wheel, who's been accustomed to the conditions, use that to his own benefit and to the benefit of the car. But Darren's now behind, Darren Turner now behind the wheel. He's going out with other competitors around him who've been out for 5 or 6 laps. They're up to speed. Darren's got to get up to speed, and it's going to take him a minimum of 1, if not 2 laps to do so.
So you're looking at number 18, the E-Type that is leading this race, with Rob Huff currently driving after Andrew Bentley doing a great job in the early stint. But what is also interesting is this one, number 88, the other E-Type, because Tom Ingram, as you've been telling us, Alice, has been setting the fastest pace. It's not a big difference, but we've still got quite a while to go in this race, and if he can keep doing that, there is a chance we're going to see a race-to-race battle.
We certainly will. I've just poked my head out to have a look at the pit boards that are being hung out the side of pit lane, and both Tom Ingram and Rob Huff have the gap to each other, so they know it's race on. Of course, it'd be hard to sort of know who you're racing against, particularly within the lap cars, but these drivers being made fully aware of that gap.
Well, 21 minutes remaining and a 5.3 second gap between this lead car, Rob Huff, and second place car, Tom Ingram, both Jaguar E-types. And the next up is then Andy Prio in the Lister Jaguar. And then in 4th place, we get the first of the AC Cobras, Al Buncombe. Al Buncombe yesterday was an outstanding driver in the Sterling Moss Trophy. He was the quickest car on the racetrack. We didn't get to see it because there's such a focus on the battle going on for the lead.
And what we've seen is that the Ollie Bryant's car with Darren Turner now is in 7th place, having led extremely well until the pit stop, but the others have been making up time, and so now down in 7th.
Yes, I think that was quite a long pit stop for them, so I'm not entirely sure that went on, but look at that gap at the front that you can see on left of screen. 4.3 is the gap. So I know there's been a little bit of traffic in play, John, but Tom Ingram, he just seems to be so at one with this particular E-type, and he seems to be railing in Rob Huff.
Well, I was very impressed by what I saw last year Tom Ingram do, and I'm being further impressed by what he's doing here right now in the most demanding of conditions at Goodwood. I mean, the track surface is slippery. It's just a matter of now. This is going to delay Ingram a little bit. He's got traffic coming through the chicane, but already before they're exiting the chicane, he's got the nose of the E-type up alongside the Bizzarini and accelerates away.
Yeah, so let's just see what is the gap. It's come down to 3.2 seconds. He's gained nearly 2 seconds on that lap. That's amazing. Despite that, as you say, it looked like he might get blocked at the chicane, but you're right. I think he dealt with that actually very well. He didn't lose much time coming through there.
I mean, Ben, we all read books, but if you're a racing driver, you've got to read the racetrack. You've got to read your competitors.
Yeah.
And that's what Tom Ingram did. He saw that. He knew he was going to be compromised, but he made the best of that compromise to get the run off the corner by placing himself slightly differently to the car he was following.
So they got one car just in front at the lap there that Rob Huff has managed to get past, and then they've got a bit of space. There's a bit of a gap. So the next car that they will come across will be, it's just actually exiting Lavant now, and that's our number 4 car, which is one of our Chevrolet Corvette Stingrays. Nick Jarvis, I believe, is behind the wheel of that at the moment, unless it might, no, actually Fassler is behind the wheel. So once Tom Ingram has got past this next car, both of our leading cars have got a little bit of a gap, so be interested to keep an eye on the sector time to see who has got the outright pace.
Tom Ingram sawing away at the steering wheel as he exits Lavant. He's got that, there it is, the Bizzarini, and he's going to just swoop and just devour it, and job done coming down the straight. The Bizzarini is staying to the right of the straight, and Tom Ingram got a clear run down in his sights. He's got our race leader. It was 3.2 seconds when they came across the line at the beginning of this lap. It's probably going to be down to maybe around about 2 seconds. There's the race leader, Rob Huff.
Yeah, although he was a little slower on the first sector, that may well have been due to traffic. So now he's got to, in a way, use this next lap. And as Alex was telling us, they've got a bit of clear space. This will be interesting now, because with both having clear space, this will give us a very clear indication. Actually, yeah, they've done very similar times, and the gap is down to just over 3 seconds.
He gained less on this lap. That was due to overtaking the Corvette coming out of the chicane than he did on previous laps. But now, again, nothing between race leader and second place, and it's a battle of the 2 drivers in their respective E-type Jaguars.
Well, I have to say, I'm so impressed to see so many of you fans out there here at Goodwood with umbrellas, but staying out there to watch what we are enjoying, the RAC TT Celebration. And this is proving to be a really good battle, possibly, between Rob Huff and Tom Ingram. Andy Prio is currently holding in 3rd place. He's not far behind, but he's not doing quite the same lap times.
No, but it's a strong 3rd place in a car which has never been considered to be quite the match for an E-type. And I spoke to Andy a little bit earlier, and he said, you know, in the dry it's one thing, in the wet it's a different challenge. So he's adapting to driving a Lister Jaguar, I think, for the first time.
Now, keeping an eye on the sectors, Rob Huff seems to be getting a bit more in the groove in that first sector. He was a few tenths quicker than Tom Ingram, and already, I was saying about, they've got a bit of a space with the lap cars that are already coming up behind them. So this just shows the pace difference, and that will spread between the field. And it looks like, let's have a look, 3.4 seconds it is the gap at the moment. And Jake Hill has, just another driver will point out, has made his way from the back of the grid up to 10th.
And that's an outstanding drive. And Jake Hill, we saw last year just being beaten by Tom Ingram. But this is a car that he has jumped into, and he's relishing it. It's a completely different configuration. It's a mid-engine, a Buick V8.
Now, I hate to ruin the party, but according to the timing screens, car 18, which is our race leader, has got a 10-second penalty for a pit stop infringement.
Oh my goodness. A 10-second penalty.
That would put him back into third place, second place for sure.
Yeah, so that has had a huge effect on Rob Huff and Andrew Bentley. So that they timed the stop. It has to be 50 seconds, no more. And if it is quicker than that, you do get penalties added in, don't you?
So that will be because they have basically done the pit stop too quickly.
Yeah.
So that is what it is. So maybe a dodgy pit stop, or someone forgot to press the button and maybe just assumed. So that's going to be hugely frustrating for the Bentley Huff car. But Tom Ingram and the Kent car are going to have a big smile on the faces. We're seeing Darren Turner now filtering his way through some of the traffic.
This was our race leader, now in 9th place, and I suspect some of that was due to making the pit stop slightly maybe later than strategically would have been beneficial.
Yeah, well, I gather there might be some more penalties coming up in a little while, but also this is fascinating. So there you are, there's the car that now has a 10-second penalty. Rob Huff is only 2.6 seconds ahead of Tom Ingram, so that would hand the lead to Tom Ingram. And remember, Tom won this last year in a different car, but he won it last year.
And I would hope that the respective pits would have taken that information on board. Certainly the Rob Huff Jaguar we're looking at now, they will be, well, they can't, there's no ship-to-shore radio. But in the case of Tom Ingram, the pit lane can indicate that there's a penalty for the lead Jaguar. He doesn't need to overtake, he doesn't need to race Rob Huff any longer. He can finish second on the road.
And they're being shown at the end of the pit wall that by the marshals that they're who has got a penalty. So Tom Ingram will probably see that, he'll be aware, but that's going to bring into play Prio, who is around about 9 seconds behind Tom Ingram, which puts him 11.5 seconds behind our race leader.
Just seeing a penalty, but it is for somebody a bit further down. It's Nick Jarvis and Marcel Fassler in the number 4 car. They're down in 16th, but they've been given a 10-second penalty for a pit stop infringement as well. It won't affect their position hugely, though.
Tom Christensen really seems to be struggling. That car down in 15th position. That was a car that was charging to the front of the field when this race got underway. And Tom just hasn't been able to extract the performance in these difficult conditions that it was able to do, or the car did, certainly in the dryer.
Yeah, and he did say it was difficult in the way. And just looking at his times, he's about 7 seconds away from what the quick E-types are doing up front. Those two E-types running first and second on the road, although Huff has got that penalty, that they are doing 1:48 now, that's the fastest pace we've seen. But they're both so close in terms of their lap times. I just feel for Andy Bentley and Rob Huff that they've got this 10-second penalty. They could still get the podium out of this, though, couldn't they?
Yeah, they definitely could. And I was just having a little chuckle on the screen of Tom Ingram was going past Tom Christensen. Actually, Tom Ingram won in that car last year, so he might be able to, I don't want to commentators curse it, but possibly get back-to-back wins, but in a different car.
The gap between first and third is 11.5 seconds, so adding a 10-second penalty to Rob Huff should see him finish probably in third position, all things being equal.
Just riding on board with Darren Turner, he's just been passed by Jenson Button, actually, so going even further down. So that's the Ollie Bryant Cobra we were riding on earlier. Darren Turner now in the car, and he's definitely struggling in the wet with this car a little bit, and Jenson Button has gained a place. Oh, going off the number 50 car, that's the Mike and Loris Hesmans, the Bizzarini. They're just coming back on, so this may, is this probably just a slide and then getting back onto the tarmac?
And he's got a slightly erratic windscreen wiper. The windscreen wiper is going AWOL.
It certainly is. So it's probably very difficult to see where you're going, which doesn't make life any easier.
No, it certainly doesn't. As the rain, we got a great shot of air, continues to fall quite heavily. A few puddles starting to form. You often see puddles on the exit of Woodcote, which is where the Bizzarini was coming into now.
Look,
and
hand up over the windscreen.
He's not waving at us, he's having a wipe of the inside of the
That's Scott Dixon. Scott Dixon, they don't race a lot in NASCAR, not NASCAR, in IndyCar, certainly not in conditions like that and an enclosed car. So hand up, clearing the windscreen on the inside.
He's about to be lapped too, isn't he, by our current race leader, although not effectively with the 10-second penalty. Actually, Rob Huff has opened up the gap by a little bit more now to Ingram on that last one. He's now 3 seconds ahead, but with a 10-second penalty at the moment, he would be in second place because Andy Prio is a bit further back.
So he's having to push as hard as he can in the, what, 11 and a bit minutes of this race remaining. So coming up behind Scott Dixon. And he'll want to clear that car as quickly as possible, not lose time to the second place, which is going to be de facto the race leader, Tom Ingram.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom's just coming over the line now. The gap has come back down again a little bit, and it's not surprising. It's dealing with traffic. It's gone back down to 2.5 seconds. They're doing such similar lap times. Sometimes it's Rob Huff who goes a fraction faster. Sometimes it's Tom Ingram. Both are great superstar touring car racers, of course. These are older sports cars, but they're both just as rapid in them as they would be in their modern touring cars.
Yeah, one's a roadster, one's a fixed-head coupe. But what's interesting is the pace that these two lead drivers are recording lap upon lap is virtually minimum 2 seconds a lap quicker than the rest of the field, and in some cases in the top 6 more than 3 seconds.
Absolutely.
Tony Kanaan and Dario Franchitti are having a nice battle on track. It was actually going across the line, was one of the closest battles. It just over a tenth of a second was separating the two of those, and then slightly further down the order for 11th and 12th place, Lotterer and Turner were having a battle as well.
It's fun, isn't it, that we've got these different battles in different places between superstar drivers, and but we've still got this potential fight up top as well. I'm just wondering whether Andy Prio can just get a little bit closer to the top two. He's currently in that third position in the Lister Jaguar Costin. So as you said, you know, in some ways you wouldn't expect that car to be going quite so well in these conditions. If it was drier, it might suit him better, but we're not looking at much sign of it drying. The rain is still falling. And
the rain is going to continue to fall, and we're expecting the wind to pick up even more, though albeit at the minute it looks like it's actually slightly reduced, but it's the rain and the track conditions which have been the big problem that every driver, apart from our two race leaders, have had to deal with.
Jack Villeneuve being lapped there in that bright yellow Cobra, with the Cobra's got his nickname Hairy Canary, and you can just really see these puddles. And there is our third place car that's lost a little bit of pace, John. He was actually in the 148, 49s, which is what Huff and Ingram are still doing, but the past few laps he's been 150s, 151.
Off has gone number 9.
Tony Kanaan.
Yeah, Tony Kanaan. That's the E-type, so that's a bit unfortunate. It's
oh, he went well, and I don't know how he managed to get himself, because he almost didn't even turn into the corner and carry out so much speed.
Got excited over
he's almost been like on a ski slope, side-slipping his way across the grass on the exit of St. Mary's.
Got excited overtaking Dario Franchitti, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Not for the first time.
It was lovely to see him, and to see Tony Kanaan here is actually lovely. I used to commentate on him when he was racing, and he's an Indy 500 winner, an Indy champion back in 2004, and it's rather lovely to see him here at Goodwood.
And an extremely popular competitor in IndyCar racing. A real character and personality.
But he did say he was having to learn the track in the wet. He's never driven this in the wet, so to go off there is actually quite common, isn't it?
Jacques Villeneuve had the same comment when I saw him on Friday, a Thursday evening, and learning Goodwood in the dry in an AC Cobra is no walk in the park. Having to drive in a wet circuit in an AC Cobra where you got really, you don't need a steering wheel, you just use your foot on the throttle to steer the car by the rear of it.
Yeah, there you are looking at Jacques Villeneuve, talking about Jack. There, it's fun to see him out there, and he's getting his first experience really this weekend of everything. But he's very relaxed and enjoying. He was chatting to a friend of the guy who works with us, Peter, a friend of mine, and they were chatting together yesterday. And he said Jack's so relaxed. His wife with him this weekend, and he's really enjoying just being part of Goodwood.
Yes, it's a new experience. Jacques, of course, a world champion in 1997 and winning IndyCar and whatever, but not really fully active these days. Watch what's happening here. Traffic getting in the way of race leader Rob Huff's got to be patient. Going into Ford Water, you manage to clear the Cobra, but wait until you get to maybe the exit of St. Mary's before you want to challenge the, I can't even read what that car is, number 16.
Yeah, that's
directly ahead of him.
Andre Lotterer, actually, in the E-Type, the low-drag coupe.
It is a low drag. That's why the rear of the car looks a little bit more like a 250 GTO Berlinetta Ferrari.
Yeah, absolutely. They do look a bit different with that low-drag style. So we're going back on board. So we're on board with Jenson Button right now, actually. So Jenson has made some good ground because they were a bit further back earlier. Currently running in 10th position. And funnily enough, he's not far behind Jake Hill, but Jake's going well too, isn't he?
Yeah, Jake is going really well. He's has been one of the fastest, at least in the top 5 of pace. As you can see, Jenson Button's left-hand side of the car starting to steam up a little bit, but it's okay. Driver's view at the moment, down the gears nicely, and doing a pretty decent job in his own.
Visibility not brilliant, and I don't know, there's a streak, whether I don't know there's a crack in the windscreen or whether that's just something on the inside of the car, but certainly he does not have the full range of visibility on the left side of the car. So going through the chicane, oops, did I clip it, did I not? So, and also watch the rev counter as Jenson changes gear. He's going nowhere near the maximum RPM of 6,000 RPM, up to about 4.5, maybe 5, and he keeps it in 3rd gear all the way down into Madgwick. Normally that would be 4th gear and then back down to 3rd.
Totally understandable, but in these wet conditions where the grip is so little, there you are, the man who's leading this race on the road at the moment, but with a 10-second penalty, it still looks as though second place is the place he will end up, because Tom Ingram only 2 seconds behind.
And he was, yeah, and he was right behind him, and then he got caught in traffic, and then I just saw in the background, through the spray, it was hard to see, Tom was aquaplaning, he was going left-right with the wheel. Conditions are pretty tricky out there now, particularly when you're heading up to Ford Water. If you are going to make a move, John, on that right-hand side, often a big puddle forms.
There's a nasty puddle on the right-hand side. Before you get into Ford Water, it's deep, and if you do hit it in a car, these are treaded Dunlop race tires, but they're not deep, sort of wet where they're treaded tires, so aquaplaning is always a concern. But Ingram again has closed that gap. It was 2 seconds when they came across the start-finish line. So Tom, whatever his problems were, and look, now Rob Huff's got to find a way past Jake Hill in the Trujillo. That's quite a quick car on the straight.
It's surprising to see Jake Hill lapped. I mean, last year he was fighting for the victory with Tom Ingram, but of course it's a very different situation in a car. Oh my goodness, look at that. Huff almost sliding it on a straight.
Yeah, the little undulations as you come down into Woodcote are sufficient now to make your car lose traction, and that's why you saw that little snap up the inside. Ingram, can he get through? These are two titans of touring car racing, Jake Hill and the Trujillo. Tom Ingram, and Tom is getting through cleanly, and he's gained because that was a courageous commitment from the Jaguar driver and good racing skills from both to avoid contact.
They race against each other all the time, of course, in British Touring Car Championship, as well as here at Goodwood when they had that massive battle last year.
Yeah, they had such a great battle, and they've not had as many battles in touring cars this year. Jake not having as a good idea as, of course, if he did last year, winning the Touring Car Championship. And look at, did he clip the grass there?
Is he still in front? Okay, yes, he is. But yeah, as you say, that could have been a risky moment, couldn't it?
Danger, just letting your car free it up on the exit of the corner to keep it as straight as possible. And just getting that rear wheel to catch again, coming through Ford Water, running it right out to the edge on that white painted line. You don't want to get there. Let's look again and see. This is the exit of Madgwick. Kept it just about pointing in a straight line, but that could have caused them to go into a real sort of tank slapper.
Was that luck or skill, that save there?
I would say 100% skill.
That was very clever, yeah. Both of these guys, I mean, I'm absolutely loving watching both of them, Rob Huff and Tom Ingram, in some of the most difficult conditions you can have here. In these beautiful E-types, they are driving superbly well. Will one or other make a mistake? They haven't done yet. They've both been lapping at such good pace. The lap times are increasing again because it's got wetter. They were in the 140s, now they're in the 150s again.
Indeed. But certainly, I tell you, Rob Huff wants the honour of taking this checkered flag, in spite of being a penalty, a time penalty, which will be added to his race time. He wants to be the man that takes the checkered flag, and he gets maybe say morally, well, on the racetrack, I did the business. But of course, if there was a penalty, and the one catches that deep puddle in the exit of Woodcote.
And what makes it even more amazing is these two drivers, when they have been racing in touring cars, they've been driving in front-wheel drive cars, and of course these beautiful Jaguars are rear-wheel drive, and that's a whole different thing to get your head around.
I have to say, as a pure enthusiast, racing cars should only be rear-wheel drive, but people would disagree with me.
And also, I was just looking at the time remaining. They actually crossed the line at 1 minute 50 seconds, and that's the pace they're doing. So are they going to get the checkered flag when they come around or not? It's going to be marginal, one way or the other, whether the checkered flag comes out at the end of this lap.
Well, Ingram is almost in the wheel tracks of Rob Huff, but catching as he's done and then putting himself into a position, and again, watching the back of Huff's Jaguar, just those undulations and the standing water, just the car is almost floating its way around this, what we may think would be the final lap, or maybe the penultimate lap.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Rob Huff who's out in front at the moment, but with the penalty that he's been given, it is very much Tom Ingram in second place. But as you say, Tom wants to get past, doesn't he, Alice?
They're still pushing, and I'm just having a look at the sector times. Their pace has dropped a little bit, so your guess is as good as mine, and my visibility out of the commentary box window, guys, it's hard to see whether the last lap board or whether they've got the checkered flag ready. I think they have got it ready, but it is going to be in terms of the time.
It's going to be very close, because we've now just got roughly half a minute to complete the last sector of this lap. And I don't know, I think there could be about 3 or 4 seconds in it that may see them have one more lap. Ingram behind, under braking, car snaking the back of the car, moving around as Ingram gotten so close to the back of Rob Huff.
This could be it. This could be the checkered flag coming up. We could be seeing the final battle, even though we know this is going to be changed by the penalty. Who's going to cross the line first? Is it going to be Rob Huff? Is it going to be Tom Ingram? In these incredibly difficult conditions, is the flag out? Are they going to get across the line? Yes. Yes, the flag will be out, and Rob Huff does get across the line first, but it is Tom Ingram who wins. E-Types first and second, and they both did such an amazing job, but Rob Huff with a penalty from the pit stop that was just over 10-second penalty, that's put him down to second place.
So Andy Prio comes through in the Lister, so he will secure third place. Wasn't able to do enough to keep in contact with what would have been the leading duo, so he will finish a comfortable third place, and well, I don't know how many seconds behind he will be, but certainly it'll be a podium finish for the Lister Jaguar.
And Alice, one of the most impressive performances is actually who's going to finish fourth, the number 24 of Alex Buncombe and Jack Tetley, because they were a long way back initially. They were
such a long way back with that contact at the start. Look at the puddles forming on the exit of Woodcote there. So brilliant job by Buncombe to get up to there, and look at these puddles now. And is that just a bit of showboating?
No, Alex is pushing all the way. He was brilliant in the rain yesterday. He's been brilliant here this afternoon in a Cobra, and having to make up ground from the loss of position early at the start. So again, another masterclass from the man from Somerset. His best mate, of course, everybody knows, is Jensen Button.
Absolutely, and a fantastic job, as you said, and the first of the Cobras actually in the wet to get over the line. So that's impressive, because the AC Cobra is so rapid. Let's have a little look at this again on the last lap.
There was a bit of a touring car love tap there by Tom Ingram on the rear of Huff's car. I mean, he's got away with it.
I mean, certainly if there was a touch, it was the lightest of touches. Or if it wasn't a touch, there was a cigarette paper between the two cars.
It was wonderful to watch. I mean, they are touring car stars, but the way they delivered and the way they, even have a little touch like that, and they both still managed to deal with it. I find it incredible how they do that. But well done to them. But it is Tom Ingram who has taken the victory along with Richard Kent. Well done to them, Richard Kent and Tom Ingram. And Richard did a good job earlier as well, but Tom absolutely stunning. But of course, partly because of the penalty that has come out because of the pit stop, not working quite so well for Andrew Bentley and Rob Huff, but they also had done a superb job, and it'll be wonderful to hear from them shortly. And that third place, of course, also a good result for the number 17 of Andy Prio and Fred Wakeman.
I don't think Tom knew that he'd won, actually, because they had to put P1 on the pit board there, and they were pointing, no, you are the winner. Rob Huff has technically pulled up into the P1 slot. So Tom Ingram is back-to-back race winners here in the RAC TT.
And there'll be a conversation about what happened in the pit lane, and you can hear. But even so, and there's a little shake of the head for Rob Huff to hear the story. But it was wonderful what they did, and they gave us such a great show. And we're still waiting for the third place car to come along. Well, let's go down and join Ed, because that really was a remarkable race, and well done to them. Let's hear from them.
Richard, Tom, I'll let you get your helmet off. Richard, I mean, so much happened there, but what a result.
Oh, incredible. After the red flag, I just sort of was watching the clouds and just praying that it would start to rain. And when it did, thought game on.
I mean, you must be delighted.
Yep, and Tom just did an outstanding job. The team did a great job. Ashley, my mechanic, Andy, the engineer. What a standout bunch of guys.
Brilliant, well done. Now, Tom, let's get that helmet off. I believe you are the first person ever to win this race back-to-back in different cars. Congratulations.
I don't know what to say to that. I really don't know what to say to that. Well done to this team, honestly. A huge, huge thank you. I didn't expect to ever have a chance to do it, so it's been absolutely amazing. Massive well done to Richard. Well done, you've done an absolute amazing job. So, yeah, to be found out the first person to have done it, it means an absolute world. So, thank you to Goodwood. Thank you so much to this amazing team, and thank you for the opportunity. Obviously, bitter for Rob and Andrew, but we were having an amazing race up to that point. Horrible conditions. The last probably 4 laps we were aquaplaning coming up towards Ford Water, and it was getting to the point that I don't think either of us actually saw the checkered flag as we came across the line. The only way we worked it out was looking at the big screens on the way around. So I think that was the only way that both of us worked out that the race had ended. Otherwise, we'd probably keep going until it got dark.
Well, we would have watched it. Well done.
Thank you.
Speaking of which, let's go and find second place men. Andrew, Rob. Andrew, let's come on in. Rob, what a drive, but I mean, so gutting.
Yeah, I obviously didn't really know about it. I saw the pit board, and I guess I probably gathered we had the 10-second penalty, but I didn't obviously know what for, so I just thought I'd just push as hard as I can. And I saw Tom was behind us, and just did my best to keep behind him. But the aquaplane at the end was unreal, and you know, you're coming through the left kink on the back straight with half a turn of right-hand lock with your foot almost pointed to the floor. And then every lap was changing all the time. So frustrating. We won on the road, and I'll take that.
Andrew, I mean, I know you didn't win, but podium in the TT, it's a cracking result.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. You know, it's all down to Richard Mines. He should have been in the car. He had a proper racing driver training incident, fell off his bike a month ago, and he was very kind to put me in it. So yeah, this is for him for sure. Yeah, frustrating, but yeah, we proved we're quick enough, I suppose. So yeah, try it again.
Certainly were. Well done. Let's find third place men. Sorry, guys. Andy, Fred. Andy, why don't you spin around? Fred, we'll start with you. Podium in the TT. I mean, I guess the rain helped.
Well, I didn't think it would, but Andy is unbelievable in the wet. He's obviously won this when it's these conditions, and it's all down to him.
Andy, you need to go and start doing all your racing in Scotland, because it rains all the time up there.
I know, I'm from Guernsey, and it's like power boating every day. So, no, Fred drove a really solid first stint, a beautiful car, well prepared. One of one, so it was wonderful to be there. Well done to these guys, but next year we'll come back. It's very fast in the dry, so maybe we'll have another go at it, Fred. He might let me have another go. Well, I'll have to ask him nicely.
And when you came out from the stop, you had an incredible pace, but it just drifted off a bit. Was that just the conditions worsening?
Just being gentle through traffic and not being stupid. I saw that we had a big gap to the front, so Fred said, look, push like hell if you can win. Otherwise, just bring it home. And we just, you know, it was survival, to be honest. Standing water everywhere, but I was happy with that race.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.